Today in Literature with Prabhat, we are going to discuss Juthan by Om Prakash Valmiki. Before discussing Juthan, let us first recap some important aspects of Dalit literature. Now, Dalit literature deconstructs and questions the very foundation of Indian mythology and constructs a new story. If pleasure is the basis of the aesthetics of Savarna literature, pain and suffering is the basis of aesthetics of Dalit literature. Dalit literature rejects spiritualism and abstraction. Its aesthetics is material rather than spiritualist. It believes in artistic rendering of reality. Dalit literature is an outcome of their experiences rather than being a mere observation of Dalit lives. Thus, a great or good work will be the one which arouse a Dalit consciousness in readers to make them restless. The readers must think about things like freedom, love, justice, and equality after reading Dalit literature. Now, let us discuss some important works by Om Prakash Valmiki. He was born in 1950 and he died in 2013. He was born in a village called Barla, or the outskirts of the village called Barla in the district of Muzaffarnagar, Uttar Pradesh. Besides Juthan, he published three collections of poetry: Sadiyan Ka Santaap, Bas Bahut Ho Chuka, Ab Aur Nahi. He also wrote two collections of short stories, Salam and Ghuspaith Hai. In addition, he wrote Dalit Sahitya Ka Saundarya Shastra in 2001 and History of Valmiki Community, Safai Devta in 2009. He also wrote a play called Do Chehra. Juthan. It was first published in Hindi in 1997 and translated into English by Arun Prabhat Mukherjee in 2003. It is a memoir of growing up untouchable starting in the 1950s outside a typical village in Uttar Pradesh. Now, Juthan means leftover if it is translated in English. But it's not the most appropriate translation as in the context of India. It means food which has been eaten by someone and is given to another person. Giving Juthan to someone after work shows the inhumanity in a person. The title is able to convey the kind of harassment which the writer went through and the Dalits have been going through since centuries. Now, let us summarize the text. Uh, Valmiki writes about himself that he was born in the Chuhra caste, which is generally known as Bhangi caste, whose ordained job it was to sweep the roads, clean the cattle barns, get shit out of floor, dispose of dead animals, work the fields during harvest, and perform other physical labor for upper caste people, including the Tyagi Brahmins. They were living a subhuman life. Tyagi is used to abuse them all the time. They were forced to live outside the village reserved for upper caste people. A high wall and a pond segregated their brick houses in the village from the Chuhra Basti or cluster of shanties. The wall was used as an open air laboratory by the caste Hindus, which left a stench extremely powerful. He tells us about the difficulties in his education as the schools were by Tyagis, who didn't want the Dalits to study. His parents wanted him to study in order to get out of his caste. The Dalits of his caste were exploited by the Tyagis, who didn't give them the appropriate wages for the work. He also tells us about the superstitions in his own caste and how he never supported them. He was the first one from his caste to matriculate, and in Inter he got admission in Barla school. He was celebrated and even some Tyagis appreciated that. He took admission in intermediate with the help of his sister-in-law who gave her jewelry for her fees. In intermediate, he failed chemistry because he was never let inside the lab. He moved to Dehradun where he lived with his maternal uncle and studied in DAB. His uncle warned him to send him back because he wanted to be a part of the elections in Roorkee. His father supported him in that, but wanted him to concentrate on studies as well. He joined as an apprentice in ordnance factory at Dehradun. He was then sent to Jabalpur for further training. Here his speech pattern changed because of the cordial environment. Here he got acquainted with many friends and also with literature and theatre. He was then transferred to Chandrapur, Maharashtra, for betterment of his life. He learnt about Marxist and Marathi Dalit literature here. He argued with his friends about contemporary issues as well. He took part in the Dalit movement, which became controversial, and he was given a warning by the principal of the training college. He got married to Chanda, the sister of his sister-in-law. After rejecting to marry the girl, his maternal uncle conspired him to marry her. He started getting published in many newspapers and magazines. His mother died, followed by his father. He then went back to Dehradun. The memoir ends with discussion about his surname and the issues of caste in India. Now, let us discuss some important themes in the work. The first one is caste discrimination. In the beginning, we can see the division of space. The Dalits were living in a filthy area, whereas the Brahmins used to live in a clean area. In the society, there was always lack of respect. The older ones, belonging to his caste, were called Oe Chuhre, and the younger ones, Abe Chuhre, instead of their names. The Dalits were not seen as human. Even when Gandhi had uplifted untouchables, some common people didn't change their mentality. His mother used to clean the baitak of the Tyagis and search for dung in cowshed. After that, she used to make cow dung cakes, and for that, they only used to get 12 to 15 kilos of grains per year. Juthan was given to them after a wedding, which had pieces of eaten puris, which were dried in sun to be eaten by them. They also used to dispose the dead cattle by removing the skin and applying salt. The skin was sold to the leather market at rupees 25 to 30. At one time, his uncle forced him to carry the carcass, and there was stain of blood all over his body. After that incident, his mother got really angry with his uncle because of that. Another time, when elders invited him inside to eat in Brajpal Singh's home, there was a threat to his life when a man asked about his caste. That man was even ready to hang them on the tree. At another time, he was also forced to kill a piglet by the customer. In Chandrapur, in Maharashtra, Savita, the daughter of a theatre personality called Kulkarni, who belonged to the Brahmin community, had attraction towards him. But when he saw that they gave a Dalit tea in a separate cup, he told her about that. She showed her casteism, saying that cups were different because he was an SC. She was in shock when she knew about Om Prakash's caste. She thought he was a Brahmin. After that, they stopped meeting. Jabalpur changed him a lot because there was not much discrimination there. Here his speech pattern changed, manners also changed. He constantly argued with friends on contemporary issues and got involved in literary life. So we can see the discrimination that he went through because of his caste from his childhood for his entire life. He also questions superstition, which is the next theme. Om Prakash Valmiki always tried to revolt against this superstition which was prevalent in the society, especially among the Dalits. One good thing was that the widow remarriage was not a taboo in his society. When his brother Sukhbir died, his wife married again to her brother in law. He was not happy that customs related to pigs, by he I mean Om Prakash Valmiki, uh, the customs related to pigs were something which is making him quite uh, angry about those things. They used to eat pigs, and pigs were quite important and not dirty according to them, but a symbol of prosperity. Here we can see that how something which is considered filthy becomes a part of the custom of Dalits. We also come to know that Brahmins like Yogendra Tyagi grabbed his shirt for eating pork. However, Tyagis like Teja Taga came to eat pork in dark. Here we can see his hypocrisy in eating pork, but then showing contempt for eating pork. Dalits of his village, like others, believed in ghosts and spirits. And they also used to call a bhagat to cure patients. His two brothers died because of that. Even he could have died, but he did not believe in bhagats or any superstition. The deities of Dalits were also different. They had local deities like Jaharpir and Mai Madad. Uh, he also convinced everyone to abolish the salam custom, where the groom had to go to each house and bow to everyone before marriage, which was humiliating. His He rejected taking part in any religious activities and didn't want to call himself a Hindu. Here is a quotation from the text. But something came to a boil inside me, and I wanted to say, neither am I a Hindu. If I were really a Hindu, would the Hindus hate me so much, or discriminate against me, or try to fill me with caste inferiority over the smallest things? He was also baffled with animal sacrifice in Dehradun. Here, buffaloes were sacrificed in the name of Shakti Puja. Now, let us discuss the third theme, which is economy. The struggles of the Dalits in his village multiplied because of the way the Tyagis used to pay them less or even nothing at times. Tyagis were misers in wages after harvesting, but the workers used to took money after a little protest. They used to get only one sheaf, which is less than even 1 kilo, for cutting 20 kilos of rice. They also had to load the crops on the cart for no money. When the rainy season came, uh, his roof got removed and he had to go up to mend it. After that, there was no rice left and they had to survive on mar, which is liquid starch of rice, made by his mother with rice left. When he got into Ordnance factory, he thought that the technical education will give him 2 meals a day. He used to get the monthly stipend of rupees 170, which was a lot during that time. He also tried to save money so that he could send that to Pitaji. Now let us discuss about the next theme, which is education. The struggle also continued in education. There were no government schools, so he went to the Tyagi school. He was asked to sit down from the away from the Tyagi student, and the children of Tyagi used to abuse him and beat him. The teachers used to punish them so that they run away from the school. He wrote about these abusing Brahmins in his short story, Bail Ki Khal. His headmaster used to make him sweep the school. His father saw that and showed courage to confront the headmaster. The headmaster abused him and he went to Pradhan. Only after that he could go back to his school. There were many problems during his board exams. Fauja Singh forced him to work and there was no electricity as well. But he passed in high school and his name appeared in paper. Chaman Lal Tyagi, who was a Brahmin, took him to his home and fed him. He got an encouragement from that. The Basti children also started studying. In the inter college, there were only one or two Dalits. Om Datta Tyagi, a teacher, called him Bhangi, and he said that he was not a teacher but an illiterate feudal lord. He showed resistance by writing a profile of Om Datta Tyagi called That Is. He read that and everyone laughed. Ram Singh was beaten up because of that incident. He did poorly in lab tests because he was never allowed inside. And he also got less marks in oral test, although he answered quite well. That is why he failed in chemistry in the inter college. Now let us discuss about literature. Now he always questions the mainstream literature and the lack of narratives related to Dalits in those works. In school, they always discuss Drona's poverty and Ashwatthama's revenge. He used to think that why there are no epics on Dalits. Epic poets of Hindi never touch such topics. Even in mainstream Hindi literature of the present, never showed the reality of Dalit life. For example, Maithili Sharan Gupta wrote, Ah, how wonderful village life is. He thought that this representation of a village life as wonderful is quite opposite to the reality of the Dalit life. That answered the question why Dalit literature is required. He talked about these things in his story Thakur Ka Kuan or the Thakur's Well. We also come to know about different writers who influenced him throughout his life. He started reading Tagore, Premchand in library and then read them to his mother as well. In Chandrapur, he read Gorky and Chekhov. After reading Marxist literature, uh, he joined Marxist group in theatre. He stopped playing chess because of his reading of Satranj Ke Khiladi by Premchand. So we can see how literature influenced him in his real life. He was also impressed by Rahul Sankrityayan's Manav Samaj and his Vaigyanik Bhautikvad erased the existence of God from his mind. Volga se Ganga tak brought new consciousness inside him. He began to write poetry and got published in April 1993 in Katha Kathan. His poems were published in Navbharat, Nayi Duniya, and a column in Jan Pratinidhi in Chandrapur, Delhi was also published, which was written by him. He also started writing short one-act plays, which was directed by Vermaji. He started a theatre company called Meghdut Natya Sanstha in 1974 in Chandrapur. Meghdut Natya Sanstha played Aadhe Adhure and he as well as Chanda both acted. And Chanda won the Best Actress prize. Chanda, his wife. Now let us discuss about his Dalit activism. In Dehradun, Hemlal gave him the biography of Ambedkar. He was shaken by his lifelong struggle and his restlessness increased. The anti establishment consciousness started growing. He believed that Gandhi named Chamar's Harijan to save the Hindu community from becoming a minority. Yet the upper caste was angry with him because the Harijans have upped their head. The term Dalit came into his world. The education did not make us secular but made us narrow minded Hindu fundamentalists. Debate, doubts, uh, He was taking part in all those things, and then we can see the impact of literature in him. So he was always questioning the education that he got, and he thought that education, which was prevalent during that time, made all the people narrow-minded Hindu fundamentalists, and not someone who is questioning the atrocities on the people who are powerless. And in Chandrapur, he came to know about the movement of Dalit Panthers. He wrote an essay in Navbharat Times, and the government employees who were Shiv Sena supporters complained to the principal, who warned him about that. Attitude towards him of other people changed. They researched about his caste as it was considered a crime to show sympathy with Dalits. He read a lot of Marathi Dalit literature. Poets like Daya Pawar, Namdev Dhasal, Baburai Bagul, and knowledge of Marathi literature changed his perception towards literature. He was more attracted towards social realism than aesthetics. During that time, there was strongest wave of Dalit movement and Dalit consciousness. With his deeper involvement, his caste Hindu friends moved away from him. He was also influenced by Buddha's philosophy of human freedom. He liked the thought of Karuna and wisdom, and he met Buddhist philosopher Kausalanayan in Diksha Bhumi in Nagpur. Dalit Panthers brought new power to the Dalit movement, but the whole movement fizzled out later. The news of harassment in government sectors were coming to him from Gujarat. There were also some fake organizations like Shoshit Workers Union, which wanted to destroy the Dalit movement. There was an atmosphere of fear in Dalit workers. Some Dalits with inferiority complex supported this caste Hindu workers. Anti-Dalit brochures were distributed by that fake organization. Then the Dalit movement people decided to do a huge rally, and they distributed their brochures, which was not allowed by the factory. After all that, there was an action taken against anti-Dalit forces as well. Now, the hatred between Dalits and non-Dalits developed further after that. He also talked about the division within the Dalits as well, as Mahars were literate and Mehtars illiterate. Now, we know that Ambedkar came from the Mahar community, and only Mahars celebrated Ambedkar's birth anniversary. They were clutches of beliefs of differences between all these castes. The Mehtars still worshipped Hindu gods and were not affected by Ambedkar that much during his time. In the rural part of Chandrapur, there was no modernity. They lived a life of poverty and they were superstitious. There was a case of child sacrifice which was covered in the newspaper called Lokmat. All this impelled him to write about these issues. Then there was an incident in Maharashtra where a Brahmin teacher removed pages on Ambedkar from the course books in a school. And there were quite a lot of protest that happened after that. After all that incident, he wrote a poem called Vidru. In the last section of the memoir, he discusses about his surname. People, when they used to know that his surname is Valmiki, they used to change their behavior. And when a person called Mr. Gupta knew about his surname, he called him Abe Sohre. And his friend told him that do not react to that because these people want him to take some wrong step. And because of that, he will be removed from the training. Some people also took him as Brahmins, as Valmiki, the writer of Ramayana, was a Brahmin. And some people like Deshpande when came to know about his caste, distanced himself with him. In his family as well, except his Pitaji, who was quite supportive of his self assertion, all the other people were uh, believing that he shouldn't use his surname because that will reveal his caste. Chanda, his wife, didn't support uh, himself calling him Valmiki because uh, she called herself Kharwal, which was another surname that they used. There were editors who either published him without surname or changed his surname. Jain Sahib, a writer, didn't get affected by his surname. So there were people like him who didn't get affected by his surname as well. But even his relatives, like his niece Seema, denied knowing him because she didn't want people to know about her caste. In Dehradun, uh, he always had a problem in finding home because of his surname. His name was also missing from marriage cards of his relatives because people didn't want to uh, uh, take the name or write the name of a Valmiki. Some readers got inspired and named themselves Valmiki, but they changed that surname later. But then there were people like Dalip Singh as well who wrote positive comments on his surname. There was Ram Singh, a member of Kisan Sabha. His wife Induji said to him that his surname isn't appropriate. But then her daughter Sonia said that she will use the Valmiki surname. His work was also undervalued a lot of times because of his surname. In the train, when he was going back to his village, a family, when came to know about his surname and then his caste, stopped any communication from them. He ends this work, this memoir, by asking the question, why is caste my only identity? His friends hint towards loudness of his writing and said that literary creation is universal and not limited to narrow confinements of life. But he believed that his work should show the reality and experiences of the world. His work should become inspirational to others to stand against atrocities in the world. The way he got inspiration after reading Ambedkar or other Dalit writers. So we can see that he was quite inspired by the important features of Dalit literature. And he wanted his work to have all these characteristics in his work. So we have discussed Om Prakash Valmiki's Juthan in this class, and in the next class, we will discuss Bhimrao Ambedkar's or Baba Saheb Ambedkar's annihilation of caste. Thank you for listening to this lecture. Please like, share, and subscribe.